Oh, these are nice corners. Yeah, this is a great road. It goes through all of these towns here near the Douro region. Every single house has got the staggered farm full of vineyards. And somewhere over there is the river, like down there. But you can't see it from here unless you move a little bit higher up. Rota do Românico. We found another motorcyclist. Oh, good, he's like turning. I think the bike in front is a 125, and it looks like there's a fire over there as well. Like we're going towards the fire. This is a great little roads. Yeah, there's something happening up there. We're definitely approaching the fire. There's a fireman on one side over there. They are trying to see if the fire, I guess, is going to go in another direction. And here comes the airplanes for the fire. Look at this, the two airplanes coming in right now. Yeah, this area has always been pretty bad for fires because it gets so hot in the interior of Portugal. But it feels pretty good right now, like as you're riding and constantly moving, that you don't really feel too much of the heat. Even though I have my jacket on, it's ventilated pretty well, so I don't feel crazy heat. Lots of firemen going the opposite way. This is the town of Sinfãs. Pretty cool looking, nice and shady right here until you get to the hot spot. Everybody's hanging out at the shadows of the trees. So right over there you have two airplanes coming in to put out the fire, which is right over there. There's actually two fires happening. Kind of crazy. Now we're climbing an elevation and it feels pretty good. Starting to look remote, away from cities. That's the way it should be. Some of these corners are really tight near Casteldaire. We're going from Sinfãs to Casteldaire. You can see like how curvy these roads are. You can always tell when he gets on the gas. You hear it. It's like a horn. Oh, there's water over there. A trucker was like getting water. Look at these corners. This is a great section. Muiltistrada versus Africa Twin. Will it be able to catch up? It feels good here. The wind actually feels good. Ah, so much nicer. I want to fill up. Whew. I am going to fill up. Might as well fill up. Wait a minute. That's it? This is my old stomping grounds here. I used to love coming up here and riding the windmills. My village is pretty darn close here. It's so funny, he's got so much more power. Just passing a car, you don't have to downshift. But you know, surprisingly, this bike, you don't have to, you know, downshift that much because it's got plenty of torque. And just one downshift from whatever gear you have is good enough to pass most cars. So I've filled up 20 euros just like that. I didn't seem to take much of anything. Downshift twice to keep up with him. The last time I came to Portugal to ride, I didn't have a YouTube channel. That's how long ago I haven't been here. Bike handle for a 1995 year bike. It is pretty darn zippy and quick around corners. Even though it's got a 21-inch front wheel, it keeps up with like much more powerful bikes. The bike is in front of me is a 1200cc Muiltistrada, and that bike is much more powerful than this. Torque here, it's got 160 horsepower. This one's got 60 horsepower, and this one can keep up with that in the twisties. It's not as smooth as that one now, but surprisingly, this bike back in the day was one of the smoothest dual sports out there. Even now, there's only like a little bit of vibration that comes through the foot pegs at higher speeds, but most of the time you're not getting any vibration, even from this old V-twin. It's an excellent smooth bike to have. And I was talking with him on the Muiltistrada, Nelson, and he was saying, yeah, you know, we'll see if this bike, his Ducati, is going to hold up as well as this bike, because all the electronic things on that bike they've already failed a little bit. He's had some issues with some electronics, and that's what usually happens, is there are issues with electronics. You know, BMW is known for a lot of these over-engineered electronics that people are putting into bikes, you know, keyless ignitions and all of that. This thing is as simple as it gets. It doesn't have ABS, it doesn't have fuel injection. Any home mechanic can service this particular Africa Twin. And I think one of the more interesting things is that this bike still has those valves you can adjust yourself without having to remove too many things. So you just remove the covers and you can adjust it just using a screwdriver and a shim. Not a shim, like the feeler gauges. And I love that. I love that about these bikes. Most modern bikes, including V-Stroms, they use shims. You know, it's a much more complex system. You know, there's something to be said about the simplicity of this bike. It still feels like a very sturdy, reliable, high-quality machine without breaking the bank. I do love the sound that bike makes. Oh my God, he's taking off. Oh boy. That bike sounds like, it's so menacing, the sound of it. It just sounds great. You know, it's like one of those bikes that it's loud, but it's a good kind of loud. We've all heard of exhausts that sound terrible. Like they'll open up the exhaust and stuff and you think, oh, that sounds good, but in reality it doesn't. It doesn't sound good. Oh yeah, this is familiar. I remember this. It does feel like it has more weight up top, and I think a lot of it is how you sit on it. The gas tank, it's beneath my belly button. The gas tank on that, it's like up here. It's a very different style, but in the winter, that's a much better bike because it's got so much more wind protection for the rider. This one, everything is kind of exposed. Your knees are exposed. And wintertime riding, you would want something like that, but I think as a dirt bike dual sport, this is so much better. Even now, I think this bike is still hard to beat. Welcome to Castro Daire, the villa in the Viseu district. Oh yeah. Continente. Catch him up with him. Oh man, I wish I knew he was going to gun it. Woo. That's a pretty darn fast bike. You know, the giveaway is that you hear that bike before it starts taking off. So that's a giveaway. Like, I know that he's about to like pass a car when I hear that exhaust just revving up. It's a tell. So hot. "23 kilometers to Viseu." kind of spool back up, but cars actually move to the right to let you pass, which is interesting. Alright, I just bought like a USB charger. It's a nice scooter, C650. It's so funny because all of the electronic stuff here costs a lot of money. In the United States, it's super cheap. But I've never come to this store. It's a kind of like a hole in the wall type of store, very small. But they had the connector, so I'm going to be using that. Oh, that sounds good. Oh, this is awesome looking. What is this? That was an awesome looking street. That's like a one-way. It's not even like room for another motorcycle. Well, shout out to my cousin for letting me ride his awesome Ducati. I really appreciate it. And make sure you hit like, subscribe. That's the end of the ride for today. And of course, I'm going to see you guys on the next ride. Thanks for watching.